Welcome to our presentation by Balázs Fajt and Mátyás Bánhegyi. Today I'm going to present alone because my colleague was not able to do the online presentation, unfortunately. This presentation is about the portfolio method that we introduced at Budapest Business School. First, let's have a quick look at the structure of the presentation. First, I'm going to talk about the first portfolio which we introduced in spring 2019. Then I'm going to talk about the attitudinal research that we did when students did this portfolio. I'm going to talk then about the conclusions of this attitudinal research, and then based on this research we developed a new portfolio in autumn 2019. And I'm going to discuss this portfolio in a little bit more detail. Also, we did another attitudinal research, this time on cooperation skills, with the students doing this portfolio, so I'm going to talk about that. Then I'm going to talk about the conclusions of this attitudinal research, and then I'm going to tell you what kind of portfolio we offered our students in the spring semester of 2020, and then I'm going to draw some conclusions. So first of all, let's have a look at the portfolio that we introduced in the spring 2019. We had this portfolio was actually a very kind of introductory stage at our department, and this time the idea was to have a quick look at how this portfolio method works in reality and how this is going to be received by the students. So let's have a quick look at what this portfolio contained in the spring semester of 2019. This portfolio was in connection with the course material during the term, which at that time was English for Management. So one of the assignments of the portfolio was a written task during the term that the students had to do. This was either a report or a short opinion essay, and the length and the content were according to the task specification in the course book that we used. Then another task in this portfolio was to include the background readings and the slides of the student team's oral presentations. This was to include the presenter's own notes and other materials that was used for the preparation of the presentation. The next portfolio item was another written piece of the student's choice. So basically we wanted to give the students free hand in what they are going to include as this task in the portfolio. This was 150 words in length, and students could choose from the following. They could choose another assignment out of the written tasks during the term, which was not really covered in class, so that was basically individual work. And then they could also write an opinion essay about the topic different from that of the team oral presentation. Another choice was writing a blog or a marketing text or a brochure about any of the topics covered during the term. They could also write a short composition connecting their own or others' work experience with any of the topics during the term, and this could include the description of some interrelations between theoretical knowledge and practice. And another choice could be a text of any other genre based on the instructor's approval. This time, students were also required to write self-reflection in Hungarian concerning each task. So as you can see, this was the initial portfolio that we used in that semester. Let's have a quick look at how we marketed this portfolio among the students and what kind of information we shared with them concerning this portfolio in this introductory term. First of all, there was a student information sheet which discussed why the method was useful for the students. This provided some kind of a status report for the students, so basically this analyzed and it also showed where they were concerning the language development. It also offered them the idea to revise and synthesize some of the course material. We also highlighted in this student information sheet that the portfolio was useful for job interviews, and it also meant extra work for the students, which meant extra practice for them. The in-class presentation was not really marketing, and I think this was a very bad choice. We only talked about practical details, but we did not really motivate or encourage the students to do the portfolio, as this was an optional task. We basically told them about the advantages that I have just listed, which were included in the student information sheet. The evaluation sheet was not the best either. There were only categories, but there were no detailed marking criteria, so students only knew some of the basic criteria, but they had no idea concerning details. Because we were not really sure how this portfolio was received by the students, we did a small-scale attitudinal study. The purpose was to get feedback from the students, and we faced two options: to keep the portfolio method as such, or to reject this at our classes. The participants were recruited from Budapest Business School's Faculty of Finance and Accountancy, and our students majored in business administration and management. There were 21 students taking part in the attitudinal study, 13 male students and 8 female. The instrument was a Hungarian language self-constructed questionnaire. There were 26 questions, all relating to their attitudes towards the portfolio, and we also collected basic demographic information, and we wanted to know whether our participants attended another higher education institution, just to see how skilled they were at compiling portfolios, and we were also interested whether they had to compile a portfolio before or not. The data collection and analysis was as follows. There were 17 statements which measured participants' attitude towards the portfolio method, and we used a Likert scale to provide options for students to choose from. One was that they did not agree with the question, and then number 5 was that they completely agreed. The data collection took place in April 2019, and the data was coded and analyzed in SPSS 22 software. Let's have a look at our conclusions concerning the small-scale study. In our understanding, the portfolio method was less popular with the students than we previously expected, which was a surprise, because we thought that this portfolio, which also included a lot of optional tasks, would be better received by the students. The students deciding to compile a portfolio, however, all showed a positive attitude. From this, we concluded that more information was to be shared with the students on the benefits of the portfolio method. So basically, we had to find some kind of a marketing attitude and a marketing mix to advertise this portfolio to the students. The students completing the portfolio, those students who completed a portfolio put much more effort in these tasks, probably because they could see more benefits of this. So this prompted us to talk in the classes about students who did the portfolio and what sort of benefits they could gain from this. Our students also told us at that time that the compilation of the portfolio was quite time-consuming, and from this we concluded that the amount of tasks was to be decreased. Feedback from the course instructor, our students said, was not supported by detailed evaluation criteria. So basically, our feedback was primarily on impression, which was not a good choice. So we decided to develop detailed evaluation criteria. There was a focus on the development of 21st century soft skills, But we concluded that cooperation should be more in focus, because our students usually lack this skill, even if this is very much necessary in our world of work. So we did an alteration of the first portfolio, which we used in spring 2019. We included novel tasks, and we also included new assessment criteria. This novel improved portfolio was used in the autumn of 2019. Let's have a look at the tasks. There were 4 tasks altogether. There was a personalized professional introduction, which was individual work. The length was between 200 and 300 words. There was a graph analysis, which was pair work. This time the portfolio was related to finance and accounting. That's why we have chosen the graph analysis. There was also a next task, which was a list of field-specific terms with English definitions and Hungarian equivalents. We included this as individual work, and this was mostly research. And there was a summary of the oral case study, which the students had to present in class. The oral case study was presented in class, and the summary was to be handed in the portfolio. This was also group work, and this was between 500 and 600 words. The marketing of the portfolio was also improved. There was a student information sheet, which this time included awareness raising concerning why this portfolio could be or was very beneficial for the students. There was reference to what skills the portfolio developed. We also included that the portfolio was very good for revising and synthesizing any course material that the students covered in language classes and also in other classes. And we also highlighted that job interviews could draw very much on this portfolio. The in-class presentation also included marketing, which included references to job market benefits, and earlier successful portfolios were shown, and the importance of the development of 21st century skills was also highlighted to the students. This time we developed a very detailed evaluation sheet with descriptors which were made available to the students before actually they started compiling their portfolios. This time we did a research on changes in cooperation skills, because this time we wanted to see how much students develop concerning cooperation when they choose to do a portfolio. For this, we had a look at skills which were in connection with cooperation skills, and what sort of sub-skills were included under cooperation skills. So we have chosen Davier and Halpin's theory, in which they discuss that cooperation skills are made up of cognitive skills on the one hand and non-cognitive skills on the other hand. So concerning cognitive skills, McAllister refers to cognitive trust, which in his definition includes willingness to cooperate. And this was one of the factors that we had a look at in this research when we analyzed how much students' cooperation skills have changed during the portfolio method. The next part of these skills was non-cognitive skills, and Davier and Halpin mentioned mutual interdependence and communication skills, and also other skills related to the nature of the cooperation in question, which this time, concerning our portfolio, included leadership skills and time management. Leadership skills because students had to share the job, and time management skills because students had to observe the deadlines. So let's have a look at what kind of changes took place when students compiled a portfolio in cooperation with others. So how did their willingness to cooperate change? How did their mutual interdependence change, namely relying on each other? How did their communication skills change? How did their leadership skills and time management skills change? The purpose of this study was to see if the portfolio method was effective in developing students' attitudes towards certain aspects of cooperation skills. So these were the sub-skills that I have just mentioned. Our participants were again recruited from the same university and from the same faculty of the university. This time these students majored in finance and accounting. There were altogether 49 students included in the study. The instrument again was a self-constructed questionnaire. There were 20 statements on attitudes to the skills which I have just listed, the 5 skills, and we also collected some basic demographic information. 20 statements measured students' attitudes towards skills at the beginning and at the end of the term. We also used a Likert scale with 1 and 5, do not agree or completely agree. The data collection took place in September and December 2019, and the data was again coded and analyzed in SPSS 22 software. And here is the research, here is the results of the research. The comparative data show that from September to December, concerning all of these skills, students' attitude did change. All skills basically developed, and their attitude also developed. Even if these changes were not quite significant, we can see that their attitude towards willingness to cooperate changed quite a lot. So basically this improved from September to December, and so did their mutual interdependence and communication skills, and so did leadership skills and also time management skills. And I guess one of the factors that most significantly changed out of the 5 was willingness to cooperate, which means that the portfolio method can effectively be used when promoting students' cooperation when using the tasks that we have devised. Then we also continued using the portfolio because we have received positive feedback on this. And we also used the portfolio method in autumn 2020. We tried to vary the previous portfolios a bit, and we also used the evaluation criteria that we developed during the 2 previous terms. We used these portfolios in Business English 1 and 2 courses, and also at English for Management courses. The portfolios were adjusted to the course contents and to the skills to be practiced with the students, and all of the portfolios were based on students' needs and individual development plans. So basically they included a mixture of the tasks that I have just talked about. There were compulsory and optional tasks. And the evaluation sheets were a mixture of the previous evaluation sheets, depending on the tasks included in the portfolios. What about the conclusions of these 2 attitudinal studies? And what about the conclusions of the different types of portfolios that we have developed? We concluded that the tailoring of portfolios is a multi-stage process, and probably it takes quite a few terms until a good portfolio or a relatively good portfolio can be developed. The factors that we imagine and we concluded to consider when developing portfolio tasks are as follows. What skills we would like to develop in our students, and what skills they would like to develop for themselves. What kind of individual development plans they have. What kind of skills they would like to develop, what kind of language skills they want to improve during the given term. So basically, the more individual tasks the portfolio can contain, the more effective and the better it can be for the students. We should not forget about the practicability on the part of students and educators too. How much time it takes for the students to develop the portfolio, and how much time it takes for the educators to correct the portfolios. how much effort students and educators can put into the portfolio in the given term. And also effectiveness is another factor, so how extensively and how effectively these portfolios can develop students' language skills and also other non-language skills. Thank you very much for your interest. Here are our references that we have used for compiling this presentation, and here are the works that we consulted while developing the presentation. Thank you very much for listening to my talk, and I'm open to any questions, comments that you may have. Thank you.